Zhuangzi, or enjoyment in untroubled ease. 1. In the northern ocean there is a fish, the name of which is Quan. I do not know how many ell in size. It changes into a bird with the name of Peng, the back of which is also I do not know how many ell in extent. When this bird rouses itself and flies, its wings are like clouds all round the sky. When the sea is moved so as to bear it along, it prepares to remove to the southern ocean. The southern ocean is the pool of heaven. There is the book called Taoism, a record of marvels. We have in it these words: when the Fang is removing to the southern ocean, it flaps its wings on the water for 3,000 ell. Then it ascends on a whirlwind 900,000, and it rests only at the end of 6 months. But similar to this is the movement of the breezes, which we call the horses, of the fields, of the dust which quivers in the sunbeams, and of living things as they are blown against one another by the air. Is its azure the proper colour of the sky? Or is it occasioned by its distance and illimitable extent? If one were looking down from above, the very same appearance would just meet his view. 2. And moreover, to speak of the accumulation of water, if it be not great, it will not have strength to support a large boat. Upset a cup of water in a cavity, and a straw will float on it as if it were a boat. Place a cup in it, and it will stick fast. The water is shallow and the boat is large. So it is with the accumulation of wind. If it be not great, it will not have strength to support great wings. Therefore the Fang ascended to the height of 90,000 ell. And there was such a mass of wind beneath it, thenceforth the accumulation of wind was sufficient, as it seemed to bear the blue sky on its back, and there was nothing to obstruct or arrest its course. It could pursue its way to the south. A cicada and a little dove laughed at it, saying, "We make an effort and fly towards an elm or sapanwood tree, and sometimes before we reach it, we can do no more but drop to the ground. Of what use is it for this creature to rise 90,000 ell, and make for the south? He who goes to the grassy suburbs, returning to the third meal of the day, will have his belly as full as when he set out. He who goes to a distance of 100 ell will have to pound his grain where he stops for the night. He who goes 1,000 ell will have to carry with him provisions for 3 months. What should these two small creatures know about the matter? The knowledge of that which is small does not reach to that which is great. The experience of a few years does not reach to that of many. How do we know that it is so? The mushroom of a morning does not know what takes place between the beginning and end of a month. The short-lived cicada does not know what takes place between the spring and autumn. These are instances of a short term of life. In the south of K there is the tree called Mingling, whose spring is 500 years, and its autumn the same. In high antiquity there was that called Tokan, whose spring was 8,000 years, and its autumn the same. And Chuang Tzu is the one man renowned to the present day for his length of life. If all men were to wish to match him, would they not be miserable? 3. In the questions put by Thang to K we have similar statements. In the bare and barren north there is the dark and vast ocean, the pool of heaven. In it there is a fish, several thousand ell in breadth, while no one knows its length. Its name is the Quan. There is also a bird named the Fang. Its back is like the Tai mountain, while its wings are like clouds all round the sky. On a whirlwind it mounts upwards, as on the whirls of a goat's horn for 90,000 ell, till far removed from the cloudy vapours it bears on its back the blue sky, and then it shapes its course for the south and proceeds to the ocean there. A quail by the side of a marsh laughed at it, and said, "Where is it going to? I spring up with a bound, and come down again when I have reached but a few fathoms, and then fly about among the brushwood and bushes, and this is the perfection of flying. Where is that creature going to? This shows the difference between the small and the great. Thus it is that man, whose wisdom is sufficient for the duties of some one office, or whose conduct will secure harmony in some one district, or whose virtue is befitting a ruler so that they could efficiently govern some one state, are sure to look on themselves in this manner like the quail, and yet youngs of Sung would have smiled and laughed at them. This Yance, though the whole world should have praised him, would not for that have stimulated himself to greater endeavor, and though the whole world should have condemned him, would not have exercised any more repression of his course. So fixed was he in the difference between the internal judgment of himself and the external judgment of others, so distinctly had he marked out the bounding limit of glory and disgrace. Here, however, he stopped. His place in the world indeed had become indifferent to him, but still he had not planted himself firmly in the right position. There was Leeds, who rode on the wind and pursued his way, with an admirable indifference to all external things, returning, however, after 15 days, to his place. In regard to the things that are supposed to contribute to happiness, he was free from all endeavors to obtain them, but though he had not to walk, there was still something for which he had to wait. But suppose one who mounts on the ether of heaven and earth in its normal operation drives along the 6 elemental energies of the changing seasons, thus enjoying himself in the illimitable, what has he to wait for? Therefore it is said, the perfect man has no thought of self, the spirit-like man, none of merit, the sagely-minded man, none of fame. For Yao, proposing to resign the throne to Shuvi, said, when the sun and moon have come forth, if the torches have not been put out, would it not be difficult for them to give light? When the seasonal rains are coming down, if we still keep watering the ground, will not our toil be labor lost for all the good it will do? Do you, Master, stand forth a sovereign, and the Kinadorn will at once be well governed. If I still continue to preside over it, I must look on myself as vainly occupying the place. I beg to resign the throne to you. Shuvi said, you, sir, govern the kingdom, and the kingdom is well governed. If I in these circumstances take your place, shall I not be doing so for the sake of the name? But the name is but the guest of the reality. Shall I be playing the part of the guest? The tailor bird makes its nest in the deep forest, but only uses a single branch. The mole drinks from the hoe, but only takes what fills its belly. Return and rest in being ruler. I will have nothing to do with the throne. Though the cook were not attending to his kitchen, the representative of the dead and the officer of prayer would not leave their cups and stands to take his place. 5. King W asked Lin Shi, saying, I heard Ki Wai talking words which were great, but had nothing corresponding to them in reality. Once gone, they could not be brought back. I was frightened by them. They were like the Milky Way, which cannot be traced to its beginning or end. They had no connection with one another, and were not akin to the experiences of men. What were his words? Asked Lin Shi, and the other replied, he said that far away on the hill of Keshi there dwelt a spirit like man, whose flesh and skin were smooth as ice and white as snow, that his manner was elegant and delicate as that of a virgin, that he did not eat any of the 5 grains, but inhaled the wind, and drank the dew, that he mounted on the clouds, drove along the flying dragons, rambling and enjoying himself beyond the 4 seas. That by the concentration of his spirit-like powers he could save men from disease and pestilence, and secure every year a plentiful harvest. These words appeared to me wild and incoherent, and I did not believe them. So it is, said Lin Shi, The blind have no perception of the beauty of elegant figures, nor the deaf of the sound of bells and drums. But is it only the bodily senses of which deafness and blindness can be predicated? There is also a similar defect in the intelligence. And of this your words supply an illustration in yourself. That man, with those attributes, though all things were one mass of confusion, and he heard in that condition the whole world crying out to him to be rectified, would not have to address himself laboriously to the task, as if it were his business to rectify the world. Nothing could hurt that man. The greatest floods reaching to the sky could not drown him. Nor would he feel the fur of the greatest heats melting metals and stones till they flowed and scorching all the ground and hills from the dust and chaff of himself. He could still mould and fashion yoes and charms. How should he be willing to occupy himself with things? Sex, a man of Sang, who dealt in the ceremonial caps of Yin, went with them to Yue, the people of which cut off their hair and tattooed their bodies, so that they had no use for them. Yao ruled the people of the kingdom, and maintained a perfect government within the 4 seas. Having gone to see the 4 perfect ones on the distant hill of Keshi, when he returned to his capital on the south of the Fan Water, his throne appeared no more to his deep-sunk oblivious eyes. 7. Huetz told Quants, saying, "The king of Wei sent me some seeds of a large calabash, which I sowed. The fruit, when fully grown, could contain 5 piculs of anything. I used it to contain water, but it was so heavy that I could not lift it by myself. I cut it into to make the pots into drinking vessels, but the dried shells were too wide and unstable and would not hold the liquor. Nothing but large useless things. Because of their uselessness I knocked them to pieces," Quants replied. "You are indeed stupid, my master. In the use of what was large, there was a man of Sang who was skillful at making a salve which kept the hands from getting chapped, and his family for generations had made the bleaching of cocoon silk their business. A stranger heard of it, and proposed to buy the art of the preparation for 100 ounces of silver. The kindred all came together, and considered the proposal. 'We have,' said they, 'been bleaching cocoon silk for generations, and have only gained a little money. Now, in one morning we can sell to this man our art for 100 ounces. Let him have it.' The stranger accordingly got it and went away with it to give counsel to the king of Wei, who was then engaged in hostilities with Yue. The king gave him the command of his fleet, and in the winter he had an engagement with that of Yue, on which he inflicted a great defeat, and was invested with a portion of territory taken from Yue. The keeping the hands from getting chapped was the same in both cases, but in the one case it led to the investiture of the possessor of the salve, and in the other it had only enabled its owners to continue their bleaching. The difference of result was owing to the different use made of the art. Now you, sir, had calabashes large enough to hold 5 piculs. Why did you not think of making large bottle gourds of them, by means of which you could have floated over rivers and lakes, instead of giving yourself the sorrow of finding that they were useless for holding anything? Your mind, my master, would seem to have been closed against all intelligence. Who had said to Quants, 'I have a large tree, which men call the ailanthus. Its trunk swells out to a large size, but is not fit for a carpenter to apply his line to it. Its smaller branches are knotted and crooked, so that the disc and square cannot be used on them. Though planted on the wayside, a builder would not turn his head to look at it. Now your words, sir, are great, but of no use. All unite in putting them away from them." Quants replied, "Have you never seen a wild cat or a weasel? There it lies, crouching and low, till the wanderer approaches. East and west it leaps about, avoiding neither what is high nor what is low, till it is caught in a trap, or dies in a net. Again there is the yak, so large that it is like a cloud hanging in the sky. It is large indeed, but it cannot catch mice. You, sir, have a large tree and are troubled because it is of no use. Why do you not plant it in a tract where there is nothing else, or in a wide and barren wild? There you might saunter idly by its side, or in the enjoyment of untroubled ease sleep beneath it. Neither bill nor axe would shorten its existence. There would be nothing to hinder it. What is there in its uselessness to cause you distress?